the Boss Woman of Houston. Boss Woman of Houston is presented to you by Bad and Bougie Entertainment. I'm your host, Miss Nikki, the CEO. This is our other beautiful host, Dr. Tanisha Gaskin, the shift specialist. Today, our show is going to be about Dr. Gaskin's journey. So we're going to call this episode Dr. Gaskin's journey into becoming a shift specialist.
Woo!
So, Dr. Gaskin,
Yes.
let everybody know, let the world know how you let's take a journey, a dive into your journey into becoming a shift specialist.
Well, really what happened was every day 9 to 5, I believe, my dream was to be in the corporate world, to have the high rise office, to work hard so you can get retirement because that was a learned behavior that we had throughout
Mhm.
life, and we saw our parents work that hard. So I took on that mindset, and I was 25 years in the corporate world, and I had to ask permission to live my life.
Yes.
And that moment when I was in front of my boss and I asked them, I said I need off
Yeah.
to go to my twins graduation, and they told me I'll see if I can get you off.
Mm.
And at that moment, I said, do what? Because that's something in life that you prepare for, that you plan for, you
Yeah.
spend money on, you invest in, that's your family. And I'm like, I waited 18 years
Yeah,
to
and that's a day
experience
you can't
this.
get back.
And that's a moment that I can't get back. And you're telling me that I have to be at the mercy to attend my own family's event
Mhm.
when I see so many other people get off whenever they want to, but you're going to hold me to high regard. So at that moment, when he said that, I said, okay. And I walked out of the room and I came back and I had a resignation letter. And he said, plain as day, I didn't say I was going to give you off. The first thing I said to him is, you don't get to manipulate and play with my life.
Exactly.
I'm not going to wait for an answer to attend my children's event.
Yes.
And it's not to say that I'm more important than anyone else. It was
Yes.
just that was my child's event. And at that moment,
Yes.
I knew that I had to create a business
Yeah.
around my life.
Exactly.
So at that moment, I said, I have to be able to shift from the mindset of I was a supervisor, even in the corporate world,
Yeah.
25 years, but I had to shift in the mindset of coming from a corporate place of being a supervisor to becoming my own CEO boss, the
Yes.
founder of whatever I started.
Exactly.
So at that moment, I gave in my 2 weeks notice. I finished appropriately. And then he later on went and made the comment, I knew that we wasn't going to have you long because of your education and because of your expectations and standards. That we're just happy that we had you the time that we had. And so, I appreciated that and I knew that. But at that moment, when I would go up for promotions and I
Yeah.
would try to do this, I always heard somebody's better than you, or they did this, you're missing this, you have to do this. So every no that I received,
Yeah.
every single no that I received, I made sure that I accomplished what was within that no.
Exactly.
So I built my resume up to the point to where the next time you can't use that as an excuse against me.
Yes.
So I built my resume up so high
Mhm.
to it almost was damaging for me in the career ladder under
Oh,
individuals because
yes.
now they say you're overqualified
Overqualified.
to do the position, or we don't have enough money to pay for your expertise.
Exactly.
So I always tell people that I don't want to be at the mercy of having someone else promote me when I know God has a higher elevation over my life,
Amen.
because He is the promoter over my life. I have His DNA. So
Yes.
when I formulated it and I got it in my mind, it was scary at first. And I
Yes.
will tell you that it's scary always to go outside of your comfort
And
zone,
step out on faith.
step out on faith, try to do something that's unheard, or even in a saturated market,
Yeah.
you could still have it.
Yeah.
And you tell yourself, I'm in a saturated market. How can I be seen? How can people pay more attention to you? But it's not about the saturation. Because
Mhm.
when you can look into the store, you see that it's plenty of breads, it's plenty of barbecue sauces, or vice
Yes.
versa. You have to walk into your authenticity and know how you could stand out, and you have to be true to your passion. And when you
Yes.
true to your passion and
Yes.
always put God first, you can't fail. So that was what was another pivotal thing that helped boost my decisions
Yeah.
on leaving the corporate world of 25 years and starting my own business. sis. Let me say
Yes,
that.
yes. And you are so encouraging to me, and you have always been encouraging to me for over 20 years,
Appreciate it.
and you have inspired me. So we'll come back, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back, and because you're almost bringing tears to my eyes. So I'm super proud of you. We'll be back with more of Dr. Gaskin's journey. Welcome back to Boss Women of Houston, and we're back with Dr. Gaskin and her new journey. So tell us about your new journey.
Yeah. So when I left the corporate world, I was really I left without having a plan.
Mhm.
I knew of a plan that I wanted to do, and at that point, I had people in my life say, "Hey, your education." I was in the journey to get my doctorate degree. At that point, in a dual doctorate degree program, and so I said, "Well, what do I want to do?" And at that moment, I knew that education was pivotal. I love to train because I did it for years
Yes.
at the training academy for the state, developed many curriculums for them. And at that point, I had made over $25 million for them.
Mhm.
And, they gave me a hotel stay and a free meal voucher. And I realized that when a lady said, you're a 4-hour event, you're going to close out the finale of an event, and we want you to do this for, and this is what, we paid the state for you. And
Mhm.
I'm like, you paid the state $25,000 for me to close out an event, but yet I got a hotel stay and a meal voucher. So at that moment, it let me know how valuable I was.
Yes.
So I said, well, how can I do this? How can I catch people from the onset and teach them about business and teach them about education? So I said, let me open up a child development center.
Yes.
So I said, okay, what's the catchy name for the child development center? Because there's so many names out there. And I said, I want to be catchy. So I kind of related myself to the iPhone. So I
Okay.
called myself my company, I Create Child Development Center. I
Oh,
Create being
okay.
one word, lowercase
Yes.
I. And so what we do in there is that we educate children from the onset. And I believe a lot of child development centers get the low end of the stick
Mhm.
because they're not realizing that at that onset, we're teaching the child how to stand in line. We're teaching the child how to interact with their peers. We're teaching the child the fundamental basis that many parents can't because they're working adults. And I always wanted to give back to the community, offer tutoring, and then it's some parents that can't afford it but need it. So
Mhm.
those was one of the pivotal things and the reason why I started a child development
Okay, so when you stepped out on faith and you decided to open the Child Development Center, how did you start your clientele? Was it easy? Is it something that you knew that is it something that you thought that you was going to have a problem with, taking on the responsibility of the children? So how hard was it for you to get your
center.
clientele?
Well, it was difficult because it was a new journey for me. And then, imposter syndrome would set in where you believe that who would bring their child to me because I'm so used to people knowing me in this sector of my life. So what I did is throughout the journey, I went up for school board and I learned about the campaigning. I would actually study and read books. I would study different uh, political campaigns that they did. And I said, well, let me create the same signs that I use for the school board and post them all over town. I
Mhm.
went to businesses and I talked to them. Really, I just put myself out there and say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm offering. I put ads in the newspaper. I would do Facebook lives and I would share what I had. But what really set me apart is I identified the gap of the need and
Yeah.
I supplied that need within my program. And
Yeah.
once I supply that need with my program, I'm full today with a waiting list
Wow.
because we try to give back to the kids. And not only do I give back to the kids, I also have a Facebook page called Our Create Child Development Center where I do direct a read. Well, I read the story to the child
Oh.
because some kids may go to sleep
Yeah.
and the parents were latchkey kids. I was a
Yeah.
latchkey
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I had a key, parents were at work. So I didn't get those bedtime
Yeah.
stories. So
Oh.
everything that I do in my life, I identified the gap that I had in my childhood or experiences or whatever I experienced.
Mhm.
So I would do a director read, and I had parents say, I wasn't able to read my child a book, but I clicked on your video and they saw the 10 Easter eggs and the countdown, and I would do little
Oh.
skits to train the kids, and I would show different developmental help parents how to parent, because believe it or not, we learn how to parent when we have a
When you
child.
become a parent.
And so I would help and give tips to them about parenting, and little things about potty training and what we do
Oh.
for that, little tips that will help them with that edge, because it may be a single parent that don't have that time.
Yeah.
So those little things we will implement. And also I would piggyback off of different businesses and say, hey, if they use your business, I will give them a discount. So
Yes.
now they push, because I'm sending people to their business, and they're going to send people to my business, because we're offering each other discounts.
Yes.
So it's all about the marketing strategies that you
Yeah.
have when you have a business. You have to think outside the box, and you have to sometimes be willing to take a loss,
Yeah.
because when you take a loss, and you have to be willing to wait,
Yeah.
because it is a waiting game. And
Yeah.
in the waiting season of your life, it does not mean that you're a failure and
Yeah.
that you're not being successful.
Yeah.
It just means that you're waiting, because it's preparing you for
Yeah.
your next.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, I looked at the world differently, especially when I was stressed out about different things, about how I was going to get the money over here, how I was going to do what I had planned, envisioned, how I was going to meet those 0 to 5 year plans. I would literally gravitate towards the wisdom that I've acquired before, and
Yeah.
I would listen to free advice. I would listen to different things. I would YouTube things, and then I would always know that every phase of my life, I had to reach back to basics
Yeah.
and pull from what I've learned throughout the years and implement them in my now. And that's what happened to me.
Wow. So, what ages? What ages?
We take all the way from 6 weeks old
Wow.
to 12 years of
To
age.
12
And we can keep them when they reach 13, long as they were 12 within that school
within that school
school
year.
year.
So you have after school.
I have an after school program, and we actually became we actually received an award because our kids were actually performing high level.
Oh, wow.
They were, and people were actually sending their kids. And right now I have people asking me to do a after hour tutorial program
Uh-huh.
to help some kids. And I've been looking into that and how to development, because I believe in not starting anything without having a plan.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to waste people time or money,
Yeah.
because like I shared earlier with some people, I said people's time and money they have plans for. And if
Exactly.
people include you in their plan, you
Hmm.
want to take advantage of that and implement everything that you can, because they took the time to include you in that
Include
plan.
you.
Yeah.
And this may sound crazy. I know that there are a few parents that homeschool their kids, but they want to homeschool their kids, but they can't homeschool their kids because they have to work. Is that something that you would offer? I mean, it's still you're still in uh, a
School setting.
school setting, but is that something that you would, because it's not you have more of a one-on-one, more like a smaller setting, I want to say, than a regular school. Is that something that you
More
would be
intimate.
interested?
Well, now, you say that we actually have that in one of our yearly plans.
Okay, I didn't know how to
Um,
say it, but yeah.
in our yearly plans, where I'm actually in the process. We're just waiting on the artists to bring back the illustrations,
Yeah.
where we're doing a online pre-K.
Oh.
I haven't decided to what year, but I know pre-K is crucial to the learning,
Yeah.
early education.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to do an online school, and maybe they can take part of that. And also, I have trademarked and,
Uh-huh.
and and got approval from the state to use my curriculum, which is called I Create Genius,
Oh, okay.
and it's from the ages from 2 to 5 years of
5 years
age.
old. So they could be used as homeschooling.
It can be used as homeschooling, and it also can be used in any child care facility. And I'm trying to get some districts to pick it up.
Oh, that is fantastic. I'm so proud of you. I'm so
And
proud
getting
of you.
ready to write a social behavior book series
Uh-huh.
for, believe it or not, some parents are a little leery about letting their child go to school, especially with
Yeah.
everything that's going on out there socially in the world. So I'm creating a book on social behaviors such as potty training, about no biting, first day of entrance of school,
Yeah.
about disassociation, and about autism,
I was about to
teaching
say
kids
that.
how to um, interact with individuals that may have signs of autism. And I believe that a lot of autistic kids get the short end of the stick because a lot of parents are fearful to bring them into the school. But I specialize that in my school. We have a whole autism room that we actually include the kid in, and then we implement them in a regular classroom, and they outperform where the regular doctor
Hmm.
actually say that they couldn't perform.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because, as you know, my son King Shermo, his son has autism, and he turned 4, and he's really really smart, but he was just
They
diagnosed
are.
with autism, and my daughter-in-law, she's kind of leery about him starting school because and I don't like them to label it as a disability because it's not a disability. I don't like them to be labeled, and so she wants to get in. Well, she takes him to therapy, but she's trying to find out more about kids with autism. So that was one of the important questions I was going to ask you about,
Hmm.
but you answered it before I can, and I really appreciate that. So the more we can learn about kids with autism, because me and my daughter, we used to go out and help the little we used to go and help the little kids at the YMCA play
Hmm.
t-ball, and until you get into that world, it's like you don't know, and it's like they don't exist until you actually, not that they don't exist, but you don't know about the kids until you actually find out about them. And then it's a whole world. Like I have a granddaughter that has Dandy Walker syndrome, and people are like, what is that? So it's
I think a lot of situations are mislabeled because the people don't understand
understand.
the behavior.
Yeah.
And and always tell individuals that sometimes it's the handler
Yeah.
that doesn't know how to
Hmm.
implement
Yeah.
the love and the learning that an
Yeah.
individual need, because they're not really familiar with, because autism is a whole spectrum of different uh, of disorders that can be given. So
Hmm.
when you know that a lot of people learn by sensory, and they
Hmm.
may not be able to learn like a normal child would, just able to listen, but if I put a sensory in their hand and they're messing with it, they still hear.
Hmm.
The old, this is why I say it's so important that we unlearn learned behaviors,
Yeah.
because a lot of people back in our day, in my
Yeah.
culture, I would
Yeah.
always say, you look at me when I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
but I don't have to look at you to hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not looking at the people that's on a radio station. You
Yeah.
hear
You
and you
hear
feel
it,
them
feel
because
them.
they're talking to you effectively. They're
Yeah.
reaching your heart through the
Yeah.
things that they're speaking, right?
Hmm.
So that's how if people approach learning different
Yeah.
from what they learn,
Hmm.
a lot of kids and adults
Yeah.
will be able to interact with their children a whole
Hmm.
lot better. And so, I always try to include outsourced
Hmm.
resources in my school, because I don't know everything,
Yeah.
and I know someone else can bring that positive spin
Yeah.
on learning, because the thing is, safe environment and learning
Yeah.
is the most important thing
Hmm.
that I try to harp on in
Yeah.
my school.
And see, it took us so long to figure out that it was something wrong because we speak English, and his other grandparents the only language they speak is Spanish.
Well,
So we
bilingual
thought,
center as
yeah.
well.
So we thought that he was confused as the language barrier. So we didn't. Then we started noticing he wanted to just be by himself. He wouldn't play with the other kids. And then my daughter was like, "It's
You know, the funny thing about that is that kids have a development brain.
yeah,
So they can learn 16 different languages at one time and still be okay. We as adults say it's confusing because we don't understand it. And I want to share this with you, and it probably will bring a little light to them. Adults isolate.
mm-hmm,
So just because a child isolate doesn't mean that they have something going on. It just means that in my world, I'm comfortable.
mm-hmm,
So we then begin to teach how to work sociably with other people and bring other people around them. So when a lot of parents will come into my center and say, "Oh, such and such, they like to be by themselves. They don't like to interact." Well, it was a learned behavior, especially if they're the only child. you
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's different learning behaviors. And it may be just like kids know, like adults know, and kids have a very picking spirit. They may say, I just don't want to be around this little kid because I'm picking up on a vibe or I'm seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's just different things, and I always tell people to get a second and third opinion.
Well, he started isolating. He has OCD. He would bring you to what he want. He started showing the signs. If you get close to him, he would start screaming. So he started showing the signs. And then she started taking him to therapy. She took him to two people, so he did.
The
So that,
more the more I realize is that you know, kids like routine.
yeah,
So if you can keep them on a steady routine and something that doesn't break it up,
yeah,
they really learn that
mhm,
way.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll go on a quick break, and it's just so hard to stop the conversation because it's so interesting. And we'll be right back with Dr. Gaskin's journey. Welcome back to Boss Women of Houston. I'm so proud of Dr. Gaskin and her journey. Like I say, you have been my mentor for over 20 years, and I'm super proud of you. So, can you tell us what your next step is?
Yeah. So what I am really adventuring is that I noticed that a lot of business owners go from I started a business, now what? So I always want to do dependability, sustainability, and operational procedures for individuals. So my main goal now is to teach people how to go from stuck to success while building a business that they could sustain and create generational wealth
Yeah,
that will leave a legacy to their children's children.
yeah.
So now what I do is I help businesses maintain, get into where their why, and never work a day in their life, because now they are structuring their business around their life. A lot of people get burned out because the business now becomes a part of their life that they don't like anymore,
Mhm.
because they got to worry about how to make it from point A to Z. So
Yeah,
I try to automate their business and take them from that.
yeah,
And you know, a lot of it is that I try to be the experience. I try to be the exchange for them. I try to create new systems and strategies for them so they can move to their next
yeah,
without minimal amount of work.
yeah.
So I created the shifting specialist. And you know, to reach me, you can go to Dr. Kanisha Gaskin at the shifting specialist on the platforms, or you can look me up at Kanisha James Gaskin on Facebook, Instagram. I'm also on TikTok as well. You know, trying to venture into that, the TikTok and other avenues as LinkedIn and different things like that. Same handles. Um, and you know, so I did that with the shifting specialist. And so I try to help people talk through their problems, because a lot of people have their idea in their head, they just don't know how to implement it,
Mhm.
or they've been sitting on it. Basically, a lot of people are prostituting their funds
Yeah,
because they're giving away advice for free, or they're
yeah.
doing things because they're scared to ask or scared to say, I'm going to charge this because I don't think anybody going to do it, and not realizing that your life experiences that you have lived have become your expertise.
Yeah.
So you're able to create that flow of funds just by your own life alone. You don't have to have a fancy certification. You don't have to have a doctorate degree. And I have one.
Uh-huh.
You know, your life experience can surpass my
Yeah.
doctorate degree.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to know your niche and be passionate about what you do, and make sure that it's not about self.
Mhm.
Because when you make it about self, that's when you fail in everybody else. So you give more than you will always receive as a business owner.
So what made you decide to become a shift specialist?
The reason why I became decided to be a shift specialist is because I saw so many people having to close their doors,
Yeah.
having to close their business, and not being able to manage their funds to create scalable solutions so they can grow. Just like the name of a business, you have to be strategic in the name of your business because you want to be able to commit to create branches off of those businesses that can
Mhm.
help you scale your business and make money different ways.
Yeah.
People believe that you got to have 7 different businesses in
Yeah.
order to get 7 streams of income coming in. But if you label your business accordingly,
Uh-huh.
you can have a business under that name. You can sell merchandise for that business. You
Yeah.
can do consultation for that business.
Yeah.
You can do a podcast or a radio show, whatever. It's so many different elements that you can make money from, and you can write a book. You can write a book, and you can do all these different things, and it would help scale your business. So I wanted to help people know that you don't have to remain stuck, that the idea that you have in your head
Mhm.
can become a real business.
So, if I wanted to become a shifting specialist, what kind of advice would you give me?
The advice that I give you is to you have to know exactly what your desire is, and you have to do it because it's all about the passion.
Mhm.
So whatever you have a desire in, because I know you have several businesses that you do. So if you're passionate about that, the thing is we have to deny ourselves the distractions
Mhm.
that may defeat our purpose.
Mhm.
So we have to remove the distractions away from us, and we have to hone into exactly what we want to do. That means that we have to write it down
Mhm.
because a lot of thoughts float in your head
Mhm.
and you can't implement them properly because you
Yeah.
don't see your way through that alignment.
Yeah.
So, in order for people to be successful, they have to be alignment
Line.
with their
Yeah.
assignment. I know
Mhm.
you hear that all the time, but
Mhm.
it's true because if I don't have alignment with what I want to do,
Mhm.
I'm going to always fail and I won't shift.
Yeah.
And the thing, in order to shift, you have to go into the unknown,
Mhm.
which means it's going to be scary. But
Yeah.
what's not scary, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing as we put so much trust in other things
Yeah.
and we don't have any trust in ourselves, but
Mhm.
we want people to trust us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how can I trust you and you don't trust you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be confident in what you're doing, and people should never see or feel your stress
Yeah.
when you're talking to them.
Yeah.
Because I'm a shifting specialist, so what I look like posting and saying, "Oh, I'm going through this and I'm doing through this and I'm going
Yeah.
through
That
this,"
makes
because they're gonna say,
sense.
"Golly, she got other problems." But if I do post it, I'm gonna line it up in a way that I can be a solution to somebody
Yeah.
else because I've already experienced it and I made
Yes.
it through.
Preach, girl.
So that's how I do when I shift.
Mhm.
So you have to think, what is a shift?
Mm.
Shifting means going from here to
To
there.
there.
And that means that you can't stay here if you're going to grow.
Yeah.
And I learned that a lot of people don't understand growth because
Yeah.
they never experienced it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is if I'm trying to grow my business and I'm
Mhm.
talking to a person and they say, "No, I don't think you should do that at this time or you shouldn't do that,"
Mhm.
then they don't understand the experience of where I'm trying to go.
Mhm.
But that don't mean I need to sit on it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm validating what I need to do on one
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
You always want to get several different opinions, and you always want to surround yourself around people that's trying to get into business or trying to do something that's
Yeah.
trying to develop themselves.
Yeah.
Because anybody that you're around that don't do any type of self-development is
Yeah.
not a person that you'll be able to grow with.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to understand that it's pruning season. This
Mhm.
is why I always use a tree as my analogy,
Yeah.
because trees develop branches that grow out, but
Mhm.
also trees have dead leaves that fall off,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
some dead leaves don't fall off, which means that I may have to go and prune that tree in order for it to grow again, which means that some people won't be able to go where I grow.
Uh
Are
oh.
you following
Uh
me? They
oh.
won't be able to go where I grow
Yeah.
because, and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
It may hurt me
Yeah.
because they were a part of me at one time,
Yes.
but as they fall off, I know that God is going to bring me a new leaf
Yeah.
that's going to help me grow.
Yeah.
And that's
It's a
what people
different
need to
season.
understand,
Yeah.
different seasons. And when we understand that God to put on this earth different seasons, we know that we're not exempt from those seasons to
Yeah.
come in our life,
Yes.
right? We
Yes.
know that winter may be cold. We know summer may be hot. We know
Yeah.
falls that stuff is going to fall off. And we
Fall
know
up.
spring that is going to grow.
Grow back.
So if
Yes.
we learn from those seasons, we'll
Mhm.
be able to apply them to our
Mhm.
life, business, family, relationship, whatever it is.
Yes.
So I want to be able to create that shift for people
Yeah.
and to let people understand that You are more than who you are because you are purposeful.
Yeah.
And when you're in your purpose, you'll find profit.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm
I
saying?
see.
In your pain, you'll find profit.
Mm-hmm.
In those situations where people left you, God will bring other people in there
Yes.
that can help
Yes.
you grow.
Yes.
So I tell people, even though you feel stagnant, you're
You're
not,
not.
because you're still showing up for you.
Yeah.
Because stagnant people don't go
Don't go
anywhere.
nowhere. It's like the still waters.
They don't go anywhere.
And so you said something interesting when you said the multiple businesses, which I have. So as being a shift specialist, do you teach them how to put everything under one umbrella? Yeah, because that's very important, and that's something that I do. So so when people come to you or come to your business, so that's a part of what you do. You teach them how to put everything under one umbrella, so that they won't be, uh, lost here and there. Teach
Pull
them a
so many
business, yeah,
different ways.
teach them
Business
how to do
mindset,
a business mindset. Teach them how to do a business plan, and so come up with
strategy.
come up with a
A
strategy.
strategy within strategies
Yeah,
that can continue to grow to develop systems.
yeah,
And it's important because systems are a part of success.
mhm,
And in order for you to grow, you have to have a successful mindset from the onset, even when you feel like you're failing.
yeah,
Because people think that you're failing because hardship comes, but
yeah,
hardship does not mean failure. Hard just means that it's hard right now. But just like the ship, I always tell people, I dissect words. Hardship, it's hard right now, but a ship sails.
sales.
So which means that it may look weak
And
right
that's when
now, and
people
I
give
may,
up.
yeah, that's when people
That's
give
when
up or
people
say
give
I'm
up.
stuck and I'm finna quit. Because the thing about is that cycles, people, it's cycles that people go
Yeah,
through. And if you in business, you're gonna know that it's gonna be good
good
seasons and
seasons
it's
and
gonna be
bad
bad
seasons.
seasons.
Yeah,
This is why I use biblical principle with this. Because when we talk about Joseph, Joseph was thrown into the pit, but he
mhm,
ended up in a palace. And
mhm,
however, what that meant was is that he had to teach people how to store up for the famine,
yeah,
which means that when I know that I'm in business, that when I know that, say I know February through June is going to be my down season.
yeah,
So from July all the way to January, I
yeah.
know I got to store
Store
up
it.
my harvest.
Mhm.
So when I do get up in that down season, I
Yeah,
still
you
have
still have
plenty.
it. Yeah,
You always want, and this is the advice that I teach because I do teaching and training and coaching, and I have a mentor program. Is I always tell people that you always, when you do have up, that doesn't always mean I have to buy more,
yeah,
because
yeah,
you have to be able to use what you're getting,
mm,
because you need to be able to save up for those
yeah,
times so you won't stress yourself out and you'll
yeah.
still be able to
Trying
be
to figure out how you
successful,
gonna
right?
get it.
Because when you stress, you're going to stop marketing,
Yeah,
you're going to stop doing the solutions that you need.
yeah,
It's going to cloud your judgment of how to move forward.
mhm,
You're going to feel like you're in a failure, stagnation state,
yeah,
and which means that you're not going to propel yourself
yeah,
forward. So I always tell people that feeling stuck is not a bad thing.
yeah,
It's why I say that is because it's making you aware of where you are.
yeah,
And when you're aware of where you are, you have identified
mhm,
your problem.
yeah,
So now that you identified your problem or made you look into your problem,
yeah,
what is the solution? How can we move forward? And how can we make you money?
yeah. And how can you come out the storm?
And
You
then a
know?
lot of people that I worked with another gentleman who felt stuck. He
Yeah,
was at the point where he was saying, you know what? I'm closing my doors next month. And I say, let's sit down. Well, why do you have to close your doors? And not realizing that he was sitting on a profit already. We
mhm,
just had to re-strategize his operation. We
yeah,
created packages that he can offer. We did all of this different stuff that he can offer and give. We say, put yourself out there more, because guess what? You expect people to know just off the reputation of other people speaking on your behalf, but
yeah.
people don't know you. And a lot of times the people that we think gonna speak for us don't.
Don't will not
You hear?
speak for you.
So you have to identify and speak for yourself, because if
Mhm.
you don't promote you, who's going to
Who's
promote
gonna
you? Because
promote
it's
you?
not their responsibility or their
Mhm.
obligation to do
Yeah,
the things that you came to do, such as labor pains. If I'm pregnant
yeah,
with my baby,
yeah,
which is, I'm talking about the business, this
yeah,
is what I
yeah,
stress.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pregnant with my
My baby.
baby.
Yeah,
How can I expect you to birth it? And the
exactly.
baby is in
In
me,
you.
which means that I'm
Birth
going
it,
to
take
have
care of it,
labor
grow it.
pains.
Yeah.
So when I'm birthing my baby and I have labor pains, which means that I'm going to feel the pain.
Yeah.
But it also means in order for this baby to come out, I got to
Push.
push.
You got to push it.
You
You got
got
to
to push
grow it.
past the
Yeah.
pressure. I
Yeah.
always tell people once you push past the pressure,
Yeah.
your profit will lead you to your purpose,
Yeah.
and your purpose will create your prosperity.
Yes, most
So I
definitely.
always tell people that it is a strategic manner, and God is strategic in everything that He do.
Yeah.
Because maybe He got you feeling stuck so you can go to your next hurdle.
Yeah.
And in order to get over the hurdle, you got to what?
You
You got
got
to
to
jump.
jump.
You got to jump.
Mhm.
You got to do it afraid.
Yeah.
If you want to win or lose, you still in the race.
Yeah.
Whether you do it, and I always tell people, stop
You got to
consider
stay in the
yourself being
race.
small, because it's people that's been 20 years in a game and you could just be starting, or you can feel like you stagnant and see other people moving, but they still
They
copying
still.
you. They
Yep.
still looking at you.
Yep.
You still continue to do what you're doing because they pulling from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And that makes you the expert in your game. And
Exactly.
in order for you to be in the game, you got to say, Coach, put me in. And my
Yeah.
coach is God.
Yeah.
Put me in the
Yes.
game, Coach,
Yes.
so I can get where I'm going. Because you're not going to win that shot because I'm destined to be the MVP
Yes.
player. That's what
Yes.
you have to tell yourself. Sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader.
Yeah.
And I teach people how to leap over that hurdle, get from that stuck state, and create a business of success by helping them develop and orchestrate their infrastructure, helping them develop contracts, help them get their business to where somebody else can't steal their idea,
Yeah.
get it trademarked, get it LLC, put it in a corp, whatever you feel the need is of where you're going. But I
Yes.
also tell people, when you start your business, always start your business with the idea that it's getting ready to grow.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gaskin. I'm very proud of you again. Um, this has been Dr. Gaskin's journey. I'm super, super proud of you.
Thank you.
And what's next with your journey? I mean,
Well, what's next? Um,
you're
to
doing,
conclude it,
yeah, you're doing
uh,
so much.
what's
And
what's next is I plan on traveling, coaching, and creating platforms, not just for myself but for other business owners, creating retreats and doing conferences and getaways, and structuring the business to where I get people in and train them so they can go out and train other people, so they can create legacies, and so they can sleep and make money. See, people always say it's not about money, but the world is sustained on money.
yeah,
And why not do something you love and still make it? And so you always tell people, everybody's born, everybody die, but that little dash in your life has to mean something. And you don't want your business to die just because you quit or you can't do it. So I teach people how to create a business and also be able to sell it so their legacy can live on.
well, before we go, can you let everybody know once again how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can reach me on all social media platforms as Dr. Kanisha James Gaskin, the shifting specialist, or you can go to our Create Child Development Center if that's your educational niche, if you want to do that. And also, I am Kanisha James Gaskin on all platforms as well.
And she is also the boss woman of Houston.
I also do Boss Women of Houston, and we also host Ear
Ear
Hustle
Hustle TV.
TV at GMT Radio. So, until next time, this is Boss Women of Houston with the one and only Dr. Kanisha Gaskin. Miss Nikki, the
The
CEO.
CEO.
Love, peace, and unity. Oh, hey.
This is Dr. Gaskin, and he has a special. This is Rookie No Pen. You're on the
Hi.
turn around to the camera so the camera can see you. You on the set of Boss Women of Houston. This is one of my godsons, and
Look, I'm looking like, what
yes,
in the world is going on?
and I told him everything about you, and he brought a special gift for you.
Oh my God. I'm scared. Oh my God.
You know
It's
I
a good
love
gift.
you.
Shut up. Shut up. Oh my God, y'all. Shut up.
And read the back. Read the back of it.
Oh my gosh. Look, it says speaker, motivator, shifting specialist, CEO, counselor, influence, life strategist, author, reality coach, faith walker, servant, chick, mentor, and friend, influencer, ingredient, transparent, creative, motivator, committed. You got the, y'all. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I gotta get. Y'all, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Look, I was already over here trying. This is why I was trying not to cry. I was already over here just yes.
Oh my god. And
I was,
Doritos.
yeah, look, I was already
Doritos. You see, I be eating them Doritos all
yes.
the time.
I was already over here crying. They talk
Oh
about she emotional.
my god. Y'all, thank you so much. This is a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I never be lost for words, and I'm lost for words. So could you thank them for me?
Thank you guys for
Wow.
coming to Boss Women of Houston. I love you, Rookie.